church. They are not supporting the church. And I'm saying that's the devil's way of stifling and curtailing the success of the church. Stewardship is a test of our faithfulness in matters of salvation. It translates lip service into action and put profession into concrete reality. Stewardship gives members the chance to express their kingdom values. The poor cannot be content to just be consumers and takers either. So I say a word about the young people, the young professionals. They must support the church as an act of faithfulness and gratitude to what God has done for them. But even the poor can't excuse themselves to say, well, I am poor so I can't give. The poor should not be content to just be consumers and takers. They must become producers and givers. Everyone has something to give. Everyone has something to give. Stewardship, therefore, is based on partnership, and successful partnership is based on vows and promise keeping. Unfortunately, promise breaking is so bad that even the airlines overbook by 30% to compensate for no shows. But let's look at our scripture reading quickly. Remember Job? He was careful and meticulous about his salvation. He had 10 children, 7 sons, and 3 daughters. He owned 7,000 sheep, which is food and clothing factory. He had 3,000 camels, equivalent to trailers and haulage trucks. He had 50 yoke of oxen, which is like tractors. He had 500 donkeys, which are like tipper body trucks. The man was immensely wealthy. In Job 1 and verse 1, God presents the man's credential. And Satan conceded that God paid Job well, that God protected and prospered him. That's why Job is faithful, Satan says. Look how rich the guy is, Satan is asserting. No wonder he serves you. Just deprive him of that stuff and he will curse you out. Impoverish him. Send some ailment in his direction. Allow some tragedy, some disaster, some calamity, some destruction to befall him, and see what he is really made of. He has a feel-good religion. That's what Satan is saying to God, right? So God and Satan are discussing Job. And do you know that some of us are just like that? We are just faithful because things are going well and the tide is in our favor. If the tide turns against some of us who sing on the choir and sit on the board, and some of us who are self-righteous and vegetarians and that kind of stuff, if the tide should turn against us, you would see us turn inside out and you'd be surprised what's on our inside. So Satan said the only reason Job is faithful is because you are blessing and prospering him. So God takes up the challenge. You go do your thing, he tells Satan. And all hell broke loose. The tractors and trucks were hijacked and the drivers were killed. The trailers were stolen. The factories were struck by lightning. The 10 children were killed at once when an earthquake caused the roof of the house to cave in on them. Remember Satan's argument, right? Job 1:11. Just take away his wealth. He will cuss you out if you do. If God had inflicted the deluge, Satan could say it was not properly done, you know. If God had said, all right, I know what you're saying, so let's test him. And God himself inflicted this. But the Lord said to Satan, you yourself go do it yourself. So when Satan hit him in the solar plexus, he, the perpetrator, in Job 1 and verse 20, Job stands up, tore his clothing, prostrate himself, and worship. I thought more of us would get excited. So I ask you, Brother Shippy, you really sure that you are sure that your faithfulness to the Lord is not based on what you have? Supposing by some stretch of the imagination, what you have this morning, when you wake up in the morning like the Great Depression, it just whoops and gone. Husband and wife and children and money in the bank and assets and investment just blew away overnight. Some of us would start cuss bad and go on bad and that kind of stuff. You know, you never know there's some things in some of us. Job stood up and worshipped. Naked. No, you can read that in the Bible, you know. You can read that in the Bible because that is in the Bible. Right? But remember I said the man was rotten rich, Sister Janet. The man was wealthy. So when this man is talking now, is that the bottom drop out of the bucket suddenly. The man went from a millionaire to a pauper. And what is the guy's response? Naked I arrived, and empty-handed I shall depart. What the Lord gave me everything I had, and in his wisdom he has taken it back. Let God be praised. The old rascal Satan shows up again. God asked him, remember Job? Have you encountered my man Job? Now in Job 2 and verse 3, God asked, you recognize him? That in spite of you and your best efforts to hijack him and his devotion, the guy has stood his ground. Shamelessly, Satan blames God for limiting him in his strike. He said, Lord, the only reason you can boast on that is because you put a little limitation on me. So all I could do is that I could hoof him and take away the things that are around him. If the man's life was affected, he would wilt. If he thought he were dying, he would give up. So God said, lick him again. And Satan got on the Job 2 and verse 7, sores. Satan got into his wife, who came up like Eve with a most ridiculous utterance. Satan got it to him. The Bible said Job did not sin. When you die, Job says, you shall live again. In Job 42, 10 and 11, he says, I was dead, but now I'm alive. Look at Job. Let me put it on the screen. Because you see, God rewound his fortunes and replaced all that he had lost with interest. Job's salvation diatribe, the brave may fall but never yield. He had an eye single to the grand finale. Even when he is down, he is determined not to go out. He concedes that he may lose a few skirmishes, but he is determined to win the war. He declared when his flesh was under siege, when mortification set in on his living body, which is speedily advancing to decomposition, when his wife lost hope and the will to support him, he is down for the count. And the passive bystander may have counted him out. The old devil is proposing a toast. But Job comes and he says, I know that my Redeemer is alive. And because he lives, I can face tomorrow. Because he lives, I have no fear. This I know. One glorious, gladsome, rapturous, exultant day. Bring on the worms, he says. Give them license to destroy my flesh. But he is not sparing any punches. He has no flesh left. His wife is at best suspect in her devotion to him. His economic fortunes have disappeared. His children are all dead. He's down, but he's not out. Tell somebody, let the rousing, rallying cry go out. One day, I don't know when, but one day, I don't know how. One day, I don't know where. One day, after my skin is destroyed, this I know, that in my flesh, I shall see God for myself. The Hebrew language is very interesting. You don't exactly get the nuance in the English. So let me see if I can rewind it for you. And look at the idea, because the translation is there, but because of our orientation, we don't see it. Right? After my flesh is destroyed, in my flesh, you still don't get it. After my flesh is destroyed, in my flesh. And the next thing he says amplifies what he has already said. He says, I shall see God for myself. Is me myself, is me same one. The same guy who lost his flesh. The same guy who lost his holdings and his investment and his asset is me, same one. In my flesh, I shall see God. What a day that will be. What a day that will be. So the man's faith was rewarded. Right? So look on the left compared to the right. The first time his assets are listed on the left. But the comparative blessing is on the right. So he had 7,000 sheep. Now he has 14,000. He had 3,000 camel, now 6,000. 5,000 oxen, now 500 oxen, now 1,000. 500 donkeys, now 1,000. 10 children, and he get 10 more. His daughters, the Bible said. And the Bible, if you think the first set will look good, the second set good looking. Right? And he lived for another 140 years and saw 4 generations. The man literally came back from the dead. And that is only what him get down here. Can I say that again? Can I say that? You see, when you talk about stewardship, it excites me. The man was faithful to the Lord even when he was down to nothing. Him know that God was up to something. And him hold tight. And before he really died, the Lord doubled his fortune. But that is only down here. The Bible says that the Lord will bless you down here 100-fold, and then he will give you life on top of that. So there you are. There you are. Giving to the church fuels the mission, my friends. It does. Stewardship gives members the chance to express their kingdom values. And I want to get to a text. And that text should concern all of us. And you're going to hear me with this text till my voice is silent. Because as an Adventist youth, I never liked Stewardship Day because of this text. This text is a troublesome text. But as I grew in my Christian maturity, I have concluded, Fernando, this is one of the most exciting texts in the Old Testament. You know, there are some texts in the Bible that I am very afraid of. And if I were not convinced that the Bible were inspired, there are some texts that I could not accept. Brother Shippy, there's a text in the Bible say, all things work together for good to them that love the Lord. No, that is a serious business. Right? Hawkins, you talk about, that is not the one more I'll give you. There's another one, son, that says, love your enemies. Do good to them that hate you. Pray for those that despitefully use you and persecute you. No. Heavy stuff that. Heavy stuff. Very heavy stuff. But this one, every Christian should be concerned about it. Because it's an open secret that stewardship is not a popular subject in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. People get edgy and defensive when the stewardship subject comes up. The result is that we massage people's ego and, we make it very palatable. But this passage is interesting. Yeah, man, it's the same text, man. Malachi 3. Same text. That same text. Give me 5 minutes with it. What does it ask? Will a man rob God? In other words, will a person rob God? This is abstract and general. Will a man rob God? But then now he says, is it conceivable that a man will want to stick up God? The implication is that such a thing is remote. Nobody could conceive or attempt such a thing of that magnitude. Right? To rob God. The shocking thing now is that he goes on to say, it was not just attempted, but it was achieved. And it was not achieved by scammers and criminals and crooks and conmen and donmen. It was achieved by spiritual people, my people. Stick me up, hold me up, and rob me. Will a man? Yet you, my own people, have robbed me. After all I have done for them, they have robbed me. My partners have robbed me. I have been true to them. The alliance has succeeded, and they have robbed me out of my share. I am mad with them. I am angry with them rascals. And not only am I prepared to close the partnership, I am going to pronounce a curse upon them. and not only upon them, but upon their generation, the whole nation. No. That is the part that we heard as children that terrified us, right? And make us afraid of God, right? But I want you to understand that that is not the icing on the cake yet. The Lord is laying out the charges, right? Fernando and I have gone into partnership. Dockery and I have gone into partnership. I help him to finish. Is Cornwall go? What a pity he wasn't Harrison. I help him to finish Cornwall and I send him to UTech and him getting career and him getting promotion and him getting salary. And now that him getting pay, me am a party, you know. And when him couldn't do nothing, me do something for him. And help him and me protect him. Now him start make money, him forget. So him have a senior partner. Him forget it's like I don't exist. So that what him making now is supposed to now begin to share between me and him as partner. But him robbing me of my share. And him say, I am so mad. I have a good mind, make him lose the job. And make him forget him skill and so on. I will curse him mother and his sister and him brother them. You know, kind of. But then, the good part come. The good part come. The good part come. The good part come now, man. He extends an olive branch. He says, make amends. Bring the tithes into the storehouse so there will be substance in my house. And I'm saying now that the Hebrew and the English, you know, you don't get it. Because he is robbing me, there is substance in his house. Grocery in there and luxury in there, name brand clothes there for him yard. Right? But there's nothing in my house. So bring my share to my house so that there will be substance in my house too. And when you do that, you don't see nothing yet. If you think I was good to you, Doctor, when you were going Cornwall or when you were going UTech, or since you get a little chop up, if you think I was good to you, you will be reasonable with me and then you will see who I really am. Make amends. Bring the tithes into the storehouse and you will see who I am. When you act reasonable to me in your alliance, you will benefit more. For I will open the pipe of blessing and pour you out so much you don't have containers enough to receive it. And then I only get started. For I will rebuke anything that will threaten the success of your undertaking, that you will profit to the max. And all nations will see and acknowledge that you are blessed. No. Look at the good part of the text. Don't worry about the threatening part, excepting you're a thief. Because the curse part is for the thief and robbers. Why you take that? Why is that you're stumbling about? Will a man rob God? Why you vex? I know you. Will a man rob God? Then go read that the text there again. Yet you have robbed me. Right? And then everyone say, this is for believers, it's not for unbelievers. And not for sinners or unbelievers. And you get upset. Man, you don't need to be upset about that. It's not you got to talk. So look at it now. I will open the windows and pour you out blessing. Is you my talk now, man? I will rebuke the devourer. Your vine shall not be premature. And all nations shall call you blessed. That is God's promise, my friend. And I'm saying that in the great controversy, one strategy of the enemy is to retard, delay, and neutralize the work. The church's response must be calibrated in this reality. The church is not the only organization that's asking for money. But when the church members are faithful to the Lord, they know that the Lord will be faithful to them. And I would like to do two things in closing. One, Job wished that his words were recorded and kept till judgment, when his Redeemer would stand up on the earth. The man was confident of vindication. The argument is reflected in Daniel 12, 1-3, that Michael will one day stand up. Job's book is set in the context of the last days. And here's what my summary and conclusion is. Animal sacrifice was only a temporary measure. 2, God provided a Redeemer to pay the ultimate ransom for us, and even that we can't pay him back for. You hear the song, You Can't Beat God's Giving? There is coming a day when our masks will be removed, when words and deeds will be uncovered to condemn or to vindicate us. The judge is higher than the Privy Council, and when he makes a ruling, there can be no appeal. The question is, how shall we stand? I want to assure you that there's a heavenly mediator, advocate, intercessor, mokia in Hebrew, an arbitrator, goel, an avenger, pada, a ransom to plead for us. You cannot be caught napping or unprepared. I'm going to ask those guys to put my appeal on the screen. I'm going to ask those guys to put my appeal on the screen, if they are hearing me. If they are hearing me. Can you put the appeal on the screen, son? I think they are not awake. Okay. Mr. Smith is trying to work miracles. Okay. I have some questions to ask you, my friends. And if it's your desire to respond, right, then I am going to ask you to do so. What's that? That's not mine. That's bogus thing on the screen there now. Okay, that looks like mine. Here's my question to you. And I'm going to ask you to express your commitment at the end by standing with me. Number one. Do you commit to setting aside the first moments of each day to commune with the Lord in prayer, Bible study, and family worship? You don't have to answer me. You're answering in your mind. Right? That's number one. Number two. Do you commit to spending time studying the spirit of prophecy and the fundamental beliefs of the Seventh-day Adventist Church? Remember how I said that stewardship is interrelated and interconnected. It's all of me in response to all of God. Are you prepared to make that commitment? Thirdly, do you commit to being used by the Holy Spirit to reach out to others with the message of salvation, beginning with your own family? Your unconverted children and spouses and cousin and auntie and uncle and grandfather and grandmother. Are you committing to reaching out to them? Next, are you prepared and committed to establishing one new healthy habit and offer your body to God, offer my body to God's tithe, 10% of your income? So there are two things there. I had hoped that they would separate them. So let's do the first thing. Let's do the first thing. Brethren, many of us, Dr. Street, are not taking care of our health. So as a part of your stewardship responsibility, I am asking, are you committed to adopting one healthy habit? One healthy habit, if you want to make it per quarter, right? Whether it is the consumption of sugar, you're going to reduce. Whether it's the consumption of grease, you are going to reduce. Whether it is the 1 meal per day, meaning every minute of the day I eat, right? Whether it is that you're going to drink more water or you're going to exercise more. One healthy habit. One healthy habit, even per quarter, you are going to adapt. Because some of us are digging our graves with our teeth, right? If it is even to sleep and get proper rest at night, rather than going to bed 3 o'clock and wake up 5 o'clock and go bored, say, well, me, you know, last night, why me can't, me not sleeping because why me watch one show? That kind of stuff, you know, one healthy habit. I don't know what it's going to be. One healthy habit. But they're going to exercise, you know, and like me, you work on the gut. Get some exercise in, you know. Do some workout, man. Work up some sweat. Get some exercise. Right, Sister Bernard, you get up early in the morning and carry Tony with you, go walk. You know, I go down and see, go swim. I have a friend and they run from the yard, go down a beach and run, come back. You know you can't swim, so nobody go drown. You just run, go down there and run, come back up. My brethren, I'm serious, you know. I'm serious. Because these days, the things that are killing us are lifestyle diseases. So we have to take it serious. And then in addition to that now, are you prepared by God's grace to return a faithful tithe to the Lord, which is 10% of your income? Come, Brother Kevin. He's giving instructions backstage there. Okay, give me the document. Okay. Okay. Are you committing to faithfully returning the Lord's tithe, which is 10% of your income? And brethren, I just proved to you that faithfulness to the Lord can put you at risk. If you're unfaithful, he curses you. If you are faithful, he bless you. You choose. Right? Are you committing to dedicating a regular percentage of my income as a free will offering to the Lord? And what I'm talking about now, my friends, I don't want anybody to get excited and say 50% I will give to the Lord. No. Start small. Right? Your tithe is 10%. Let's say, okay, I will give 3%. And then when my faith increase, I ramp it up to 4%. And my faith increase, I go up to 5%. And take that, build it up. Don't start big and then you begin to cut it down. That kind of stuff. Start small and build up. Is that clear, my friends? But you need to give a free will offering to the Lord. Next one, brother. Okay. Are you committing to give what is entrusted to you to help speed up the last day effort to spreading the gospel to all the world? And what we're saying now is different than and separate from your tithes and regular offering. You are prepared to contribute to the advancement of the gospel by giving an additional. So for example, Elder Dockery, when we're having a campaign, we ask people to contribute. Right? So you give a special contribution toward the advancement of the gospel to all the world. So I ask you, are you willing by God's grace to adopt these principles of general stewardship in your life? And if you are, will you please stand with me? And our closing song, or song of commitment, is take my life and let it be consecrated, Lord, to thee. Take my hands and let them move at the impulse of thy love, at the impulse of thy love.
Take my life and let it be consecrated, Lord, to thee. Take my hands and let them move at the impulse of thy love, at the impulse of thy love. Take my feet and let them be swift and beautiful.
invite you to join me as we sing that last verse again without the music. This is our commitment that we are, as a matter of fact, let's sing the last two verses as our benediction. This is our commitment. We're not going to have a prayer after this. This is going to be our prayer. Take my will and make it thine. We're singing slowly without music.
Take my will and make it thine. It shall be no longer mine. Take my heart, it is thine own. It shall be thy royal throne. It shall be thy royal throne. Take my love, my Lord, I pour at thy feet its treasure store. Take myself, and I will be ever only all for thee. Ever only all for thee.
Let the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight. O Lord, our strength and our redeemer. Amen. God bless you.
Dismiss us, Lord, with blessings we pray, as from thy worship we go away. Light in thy soul, please go through the day. Save in thy kingdom, thine be thy praise. There's a light in the window, table spread in splendor, someone standing by an open door. I can see the crystal river, it must been there forever. Never been this homesick before. I see the bright light shine, it's just about home time. And I can see the fire standing at
the door. This world has been a wilderness, and I'm ready for deliverance. Lord, I've never been this homesick before. I can see the family gather, sweet faces, they're familiar. No one's old or weaver anymore. Oh, my lonesome heart is crying. I'm gonna spread my wings for flying. Lord, I've never been this homesick before. I see the bright light shine. It's just about home time, and I can see the Father standing at the door. This world has been a wilderness. I'm ready for deliverance. Lord, I've never been this homesick before. I see the bright light shine. It's just about home time, and I can see the Father standing at the door. This world has been a wilderness. I'm ready for deliverance. Lord, I've never been this homesick before. I see the bright light shine. It's just about home.